What is the worst case of helicopter parenting you have seen? Had a mother call me to find out why her son didn't get the job. He's 40 and an attorney. I was 20 years old and still not allowed out of the house without my mom, and I had to hold hands crossing the street. I never had a job, never learned to cook, all because I was, in her words, going to live with her forever. I got a boyfriend, even though I'd never been allowed to visit anyone's house, ever. She asked to see his SS and birth certificate to prove he was the age he said he was. I told her I wanted to move out and she freaked. Called police and told them I was mentally unstable. Told them I wasn't ready for the outside world. The police believed her and it took me a full year to actually escape. I even had relatives parked outside at night to make sure I didn't leave. I'm now 23 and slowly adjusting to the world, but it's hard. I can cook but driving is hard. I have no social skills. I don't know how to talk to people. And she still asks me to come home every day via text. My sister was friends with this girl in middle school whose mom would put her tampons in for her because she was worried she wouldn't do it right. Tampons, not pads. Not that pads would have been normal either. Meanwhile, I was the friend who stood outside the bathroom stall and coached a girl in high school on how to put a tampon in because she couldn't talk to her mom about it. This was 23 years ago. She's still grateful. I had a 16-year-old co-worker whose mother sat in on the interview and tried to answer all the questions for him. He quit a couple of months later, or should I say, his mother called the store to quit for him. One lady we had over was shocked that my, at the time, 9-year-old younger brother could dress himself and brush his teeth, claiming that he was so mature and that her daughter, age 9, couldn't do anything like that. My mom immediately realized it was helicopter parenting and had a long talk with her. I hope that little girl has learned how to dress herself and do lots of other basics now. My sister is a freshman in college, and her roommate is an absolute psycho helicopter mom. They're both on the cross-country team and very good students. My sister said the roommate never drinks or goes out, but her mom tracks her through phone GPS and will text her constantly asking why she's at such and such place. My sister said one time they were at Walmart getting groceries, and her mom called her to ask why she was at Walmart at 9 p.m. Another time, they drove to my other sister's, she lives in the same town, apartment to pick something up, and the girl's mom called and starts yelling and asking why she's been sitting in a parking lot for 20 minutes. My sister said she'll constantly have to send pictures of them at the library to her to prove they're actually studying. I just don't get that kind of smothering of your kid. I mean, if you want to check up on what they're doing then fine, especially if you're paying the bills, but dang. The poor girl can't even have a normal college experience and is constantly worried about upsetting her mom. It just all seems so unhealthy to me. I mean, I had friends' parents who did that in high school, but once they're adults in college, you really have to cut the cord. My wife, being a teacher, had to deal with this on a regular basis. Usually, she would have that parent do menial tasks so they would not bother the class. One parent became so overbearing, demanding to see lesson plans, making my wife take class time to re-explain subjects. My wife deliberately left a quiz out. This parent took the quiz and slipped her kid the answers. Knowing the kid was not a good student, my wife got the parent to fess up to taking the test and passing the answers. This went to the principal, and he banned her from the class. The parent made multiple complaints, even going to a district meeting. The school board held up the ban. I really hope this story is all true. Well, it's kinda disturbing that a parent would steal a quiz, but a school district that also took a stand and didn't put up with heli mom. As a kid, my sister had a friend and went over to her house quite a bit to hang out with her. The friend lived in a very nice, quiet neighborhood. After a day of hanging with her friend at her house, my sister told me that her friend's parents had placed cameras in her room. The camera was also equipped with a microphone to not only hear what was going on in her room, but also to speak to the child. My sister told stories after coming home about the mom calling into the room to sometimes tell them to stop doing an activity or to be a little more quiet. This woman was watching their every move and listening to their every conversation. I feel bad for the girl, honestly. To me, that's a huge invasion of privacy, as well as it is extremely creepy in general. If it were me, I'd throw every camera installed in the room straight out the window, or at the mom, or whichever. The kid is about 9 years old, so like 3rd grade. I've known him since before he started school. His mom is an acquaintance of mine and the kid himself has had classes with one of my kids who is the same age. She has forced herself into every activity and classroom that he's ever been in. She starts off volunteering in the classroom normally. Most teachers ask for a few hours 1 or 2 days a week of help in our school, but little by little she shows up more often whether the teacher asked her to or not. Some teachers have told her to stop, but others just let it happen. She basically spends every day all day with him, never gives him any space. She hovers over everything he does and if it's not perfect she fixes it. Pretty sure she's done his homework herself several times. Sometimes the teachers will send home an art project as homework, like a pumpkin to decorate in the fall or whatever, and his always looks like an adult did it alone. She never lets him face any uncomfortable situations or adversity. She got actually mad when one day she said to the 1st grade teacher, "Son, woke up in a sad mood today," and the teacher answered, "I'll keep an eye on him, but I think he'll be okay." This was infuriating to her to the point where she vented to me about it. I had to ask her, "But was he okay though?" "Yeah, he was." "What was she expecting, you ask?" She wanted the teacher to make a big fuss over him and give him special attention. She felt that the teacher didn't care because she didn't fall all over herself to coddle him. This sounds almost exactly like my own childhood. That kid has my sympathy. 18-year-old dude gets fired from job as lot attendant for doing something stupid with a car, peeling out or speeding. Mom comes in with him later and complains to manager about him being fired. Says her son would never do that. Manager and salesman basically laugh them out of building. I worked at a small community library. A kid lived in the building across the parking lot from the library. He would leave his building, walk the 150 feet to the front door of the library, come to the desk and use the courtesy phone to call and report to his mom that he got to the library safely. I remember the day that he didn't do this. She came flying into the library like 5 minutes later freaking out that her son had been kidnapped and we needed to find him. Oh my god, then walk your dang kid to the library if you're so worried about him. Back when I taught a freshman course during graduate school, I had a parent email me on behalf of her daughter. The young woman had missed half of the class, failed 2 major assignments, and had her mommy emailing me trying to allow her to pass. When I told her about FERPA, she tried to get me in trouble with the department chair. I knew a mother who kept her 5-year-old daughter in diapers when they went out of the house because she didn't want her using public restrooms. Because the girl sitting in her own excrement was much better for her health, apparently. Sounds a lot like a kid in pre-K at the school where my wife teaches. This child wears pull-ups, and a parent comes to pick her up every day for nap time. Was moving in freshmen to the dorms. If you agreed to move the newbies you got to move in 3 days early and beat the rush. Man approaches me, "Is this a co-ed dorm?" "Yes." "I asked for my daughter to be in the all-female dorm." "Oh, I understand, sir. That's actually right across the breezeway. Usually it's in building X, but X is being renovated so they moved it here. That entire wing is only female, but she could walk over here and it would be co-ed." Well, yes sir. She could walk anywhere she wanted to. I'll tell her she's not allowed to walk this way. I never found out who his daughter was, but I'm sure she followed those rules. God forbid there is ever a fire in the other direction or she is fricked. I used to teach middle school. The teacher next to me had given a 6th grade girl a C on a paper because it didn't meet the proper criteria. Mom was livid and came into the school furious about the grade. After the teacher and mom went back and forth about the grade, the mom blurts, "I have a college degree and I took writing courses for 4 years, and I wrote this paper. Are you telling me I can't get an A on a 6th grade assignment?" The teacher stuck to her guns, but never answered the question. I can see the story told by the mom. I suspected my daughter's 6th grade teacher was being unfair about her grades, so I decided to do a test. I took a simple assignment and wrote it myself. No surprise, it got a C. When I went to talk to the teacher, he insisted my assignment didn't meet the criteria. I am in private elementary education, so this question is right up my alley. I had a student one year who was the middle child of 3 and the mother was the textbook definition of a helicopter. But it was more than that, she also had a bad case of wanting to be your 10-year-old's best friend instead of their parent. Here is a short list of things she did. She would come attend school events, like plays, etc., and try to sit next to her child on the floor, crisscross applesauce and all. She would deliver her child lunch every single day, not send in a packed lunch, mind you. She would deliver something, like fast food, especially Chick-fil-A, and she always had enough for herself as well. So she basically tried to come eat lunch with her daughter every day. One day I confronted the student about this and made up a bogus rule that her mom had to bring me lunch as well. And sure enough, the next day I got a sub from Subway. She would let the girl stay home for any and all reasons. The girl was literally absent 25 days the year before I had her, although I tried my best to crush that bad habit and got her down to 14 days absent when I had her. Some of the notes doctor's excuses the mom sent in were really ridiculous. When she was at the school for her younger child, for example, when she came by for kindergarten parties or whatever, she would sneak out and walk the halls and peek through the classroom windows of her other 2 kids to check on them. I would joke with our principal that this woman might secretly be an employee of our security company trying to find flaws in our security procedures. We had to come up with all sorts of new rules and procedures for all the parents to follow just to stop this one woman. The girl was not a very good student, and I am pretty sure more than half of the homework handed in to me was completed by the mother. My final interaction with her was when I invited her and her husband in for a conference because I gave the girl a 0 for missing an assignment with an unexcused absence, and I basically forced the mother to admit that she took the girl shopping that day instead of bringing her to school. The dad was completely unaware this was happening and went off on her. It didn't solve the problem permanently, as she continued to helicopter the following year before leaving the school, but it toned it down while I had her at least. The sad thing is you encounter parents like this all the time. They don't realize the long-term harm they are causing their children or the bad habits they are helping them to develop. She would let the girl stay home for any and all reasons. The girl was literally absent 25 days the year before I had he. Ah yes, my mother does this, too. Used to think it was awesome because, you know, I could stay home whenever. Now it's just bad habits. A 13-year-old kid down the street. His mom, dad, and grandma were always with him. Always, he had never been away from them even when they have a nanny to watch him. One of them was there. The kid was never on his own for anything, and the creepiest thing I saw them do, we had them to a party in the park, and when the 13-year-old asked for a hot dog the mom freaked out. Not because it was a hot dog. Some parents have dietary restrictions. Because I served them whole. She took the hot dog from his hand and cut it for him in little baby bites, like I would do for my 1-year-old at the time, then handed it back to him like she saved his life. Let me get this straight, he was a normal teen with no mental impediments. The dad took him to the bathroom with a gallon of sanitizer and baby wipes and make sure the boy washed his hands. These people hold regular jobs. One is a lawyer, one admin at our local hospital, and the Grams was an exec with the state attorney. They were from the Bay Area, which we have a lot of transplants from, but they seem to have taken it to the next level, helicoptering weirdness. This is how your children end up as failures. Don't start bitching about how your adolescent kid can't do anything when you've been cutting up his food into little bits his entire life, and don't let him do anything alone. I was going to move into a dorm with a friend, but her mother contacted administration and insisted that she live in the same residence as the dorm minder to make sure she was doing her homework and staying away from alcohol. We were 20. The legal drinking age here is 18. Her mother would also show up after seminars to walk her home, 10 minutes away, and would contact professors to negotiate extensions and protest bad grades. I found out afterwards that she had a pretty serious history of mental illness, so there were legitimate reasons to be concerned for her safety. Still, I couldn't help but think a lot of her problems resulted from being told over and over again that she couldn't be trusted to stand on her own 2 feet. My aunt went to my cousin's first week of university classes. My best friend's mother and father moved to the town where his college is located his freshman year. Some dad didn't want to walk his kid to the bus stop, so he bought a drone so that the drone could watch him walk to the bus stop. That's real helicopter parenting. You have been visited by the rare dream doggo. Comment sweet dreams doggo and you will have good dreams. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.